Consultech, synergizing transformation.
So my passion for leveraging data starts from my first job at SAP, which I started in 2004. Data has been the backbone of most information-driven organizations. And the importance has changed in these years, which we see today. In building the transition roadmap for these large organizations, how would they use the machine learning solutions? And this is 2017. So this really triggered me, and I was working for building the solutions for large organizations, but this problem was not solved. The individual's data is first and foremost privacy preserved, and that means that you can never get back to the individual whose data is being consumed. Not only legal, but this is the only compliant way. It's the only moral way. It's the only technical way as well to use privacy enhancing technology. So basically, we are creating a world where it's all Maya, and that's where the Indian meaning comes in. And the third most important thing is to build a very strong team. At the same time, yeah, you have to keep the resilience. You have to convert every challenge into an opportunity. Thank you. Yeah, we will keep pushing the boundaries to make everybody's life better in the digital world, and they should be free and not be hesitating when they want to sign up to a digital website once they see, yeah, our data is handled by Maya. So that will be our ultimate aim.
Hi, this is Shirish Kulkarni, founder and MD of STROTA Consultech, and we have been running this series of interviews or interactions with innovative individuals, individuals who have done thought differently, done differently, started with newer ventures, using their creativity into the niche areas that you see on the horizon, like artificial intelligence, deep tech kind of startups. And we have Aaloka Anant with us. So great to have Aaloka.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Shirish, for
and
being on this call.
Wonderful. So he's the one who has started on a focus with data being important, data being there, data being critical component of our business being existence. And it will be interesting to know about his thought process journey. Why did he embark upon this kind of niche area? And whenever it is niche, state of the art, it is challenging also. So, Aaloka, maybe the first perspective that we would like to hear is that, what triggered your mind about this data element right from your childhood or whenever you were doing your research?
Yeah. So my passion for leveraging data starts from my first job at SAP, which I started in 2004. And before that, I was more not so much. I would not consider data as data. It was just information. And when I started with my job at SAP, I was more business intelligence consultant. That's my first positioning, and I did a certification and all that. Since then, I started understanding how business uses data. And it was always there. So data has been the backbone of most information-driven organizations. And the importance has changed in these years, which we see today. When I was working with SAP again in 2017, I faced challenges in building the transition roadmap for these large organizations. How would they use the machine learning solutions? And this is 2017. The traditional software was developed based on requirements, but the AI and new age software is built based on data. Data is the primary development element for any AI. So this really triggered me, and I was working for building the solutions for large organizations, but this problem was not solved. And so I started my research and wrote different papers till date. And because of my background in data for the last 20 years, it was a very good journey to understand the nuances, how data is consumed by organizations and how it can be safely done. So that's our company, basically.
We will come to the name Maya as such, and meanings of what it really intrigue us, and how it translates. But Now, talking about data as such as a critical component of business. So, do you see that a kind of a unique value proposition that you have for Maya in the form of data secrecy, data privacy, data being available, data being driving AI? How does that position your new venture?
Yeah. So from the start, the team which I built and people which are with me, we are all very passionate on the topic of people. Okay. So there's one way that, okay, how you can consume all the data, but that's not my team. So my team has always been on how you can consume data in a way that people are protected. And that's the core of our company, that we just don't want to give solutions. You can analyze data across all the web and Facebook and all that, and then you can do a sentiment analysis and all that, and you don't care about people, because if you consume elements from the publicly available information, it can lead to various crimes, as simple as that. And these are coming out these days as well. So us as a team and me as an individual, being from a modest family background, I've always taken care that people who are more, say, underprivileged, they don't have an opportunity, they're uneducated, and you try to cheat them. And this is the worst thing you can ever do. So what we have done always is to have people at the core. So our technologies, this is why, are very, very different from any other company which is just selling analytics solutions and things like that. We always take care that the individual's data is first and foremost privacy preserved. And that means that you can never get back to the individual whose data is being consumed. So this helps the company to use this data in a very secure and very user-friendly way. So you have information about the user, but you don't know which user, and this helps the uh, protection of that individual. So this is very core to all our solutions. Technology part we can go in later in depth, but the core is that you always consume data, protecting and preserving the privacy of every individual whose data is concerned.
So basically, what you're saying is that any enterprise will have a lot of data. It is about transactions. It is about business happening as usual. It is about the individuals who are playing those roles, individuals who are consuming certain aspects of services. But whenever we talk about the data, it is anonymized, where the individual's identity is not revealed. Now, we can definitely highlight use cases in healthcare where data becomes individual data. Healthcare
Yes.
records become extremely critical, right? I mean, so that's what you mean by secrecy of data. That though we will talk about the pattern that is evolving out of interpretation of what that data means, but that individual's identity will not be revealed.
True. So the whole terminology used in the industry is called privacy enhancing technologies. And it's a lot of technologies, including anonymity, scrambling. I'll not even go into the technical parts of this, but this is the only, and I repeat, only, not only legal, but this is the only compliant way. It's the only moral way, is the only technical way as well to use privacy enhancing technology. And in healthcare is a very, very good example, which you said. And we have a client as a hospital in Norway and other healthcare apps and so on. So the moment you are using the data not only to serve the patient, you must use such technologies. And I think in India, it's not so much popular. And across the globe, actually, it's not only India, and in Europe as well, where the privacy laws are so severe and the fines are very much stated. You don't need to file a court case to have a fine on a privacy violation. It's all governed by GDPR. And similar laws have come in India. It's not only the law, but these use of privacy enhancing technology for any consumption of data. And spatially, very, very, I'm again repeating, healthcare. We also have clients in financial services, but healthcare is something which directly impacts individuals. There's a lot of AI being starting to be used in the healthcare sector because it impacts lives straight away. And all these have to use something similar to what we are building. There are very few companies similar to what we are building, but this is something which every company has to adopt.
Wonderful. And that too, somebody of Indian origin trying to create this kind of an empire in Dublin, Ireland. How does that work?
Yeah, that's a good one. And this is we are not the first ones. That's the good part. There has been the guys, if you've heard FlexCube, which started in Europe, and they built their passion. They built things for financial service companies, and they did build a very good company, a big company, which was later on acquired through Citibank by Oracle. So yeah, we are not the first ones to do that, but at the same time, it's always a journey, and it's not the same as somebody in Europe doing the same thing. So being an Indian looking face, though, even I have acquired the citizenship of Ireland, and being a European person for being here for the last 14 years, there is a set of challenges which every founder has to face, and we did face ours as well. But yeah, it's not always on the bad or the good side, but it's always a mixed scene which every founder will face.
Oh, wonderful. So just talking more about the startup ecosystem, and you are aware in India also there are a lot of enablers being provided for ease of business, ease of start, and also ease of launch, creating that kind of a safety net around you to make sure that you are successful in the initial stages. Do you find that kind of ecosystem back there in Ireland also?
Yeah, the European ecosystem is very advanced, and I have not fully used the Indian ecosystem, so I will not compare it. But the European ecosystem for startups is very, very advanced, and the Irish ecosystem is even better in terms of the success rate of startups. So yeah, the support from, for example, we are a client of Enterprise Ireland. We're called as a high potential startup unit in Ireland, and we have also received funding and a lot of support from their side. So it's very mature ecosystem, I would say. And yeah, we thank this setup here. Yeah.
Super. And as we move along, we will talk about this Maya and kind of circles and ellipse and kind of orbitals around it. So Maya definitely means something in Indian context. So
Yeah.
do you find that as mythological meaning or some meaning to why
Yeah.
it is related with the data and translation and something new that is coming from there?
Right. So see, data is going to be the heart and soul of the new AI world. You can say that because everything in AI is driven by data. So when we thought the name of the company, there were several names we had in mind, and it was like, okay, we are doing this with data, we're doing that with data, I should have data in the name and so on. But what we are achieving at the end with our technology is that we are creating kind of a world where you know about people, and then this world is a complete, say, reflection of the today's world, but it's not today's world. So so basically, if you use our software, there would be a health record, which is, say, Shirice's, yours health record, my health record, Aloka's health record. But the ones who will analyze this health record will know that, okay, this is a person in his 40s, has done this, has done that, this is the blood test and all that. But they would never know that this is Aloka or this is Shirish. So basically, we are creating a world where it's all Maya, and that's where the Indian meaning comes in. That it's all kind of a virtual setup, and but this is what the world is going towards. If AI knows everything about you, it's going to be very dangerous, and then probably you'll not be able to even survive in the world because you'll be dictated by AI. But if you use technologies like this, AI would be able to help you in all possible aspects. So this is where this name came into our mind, and we looked around a lot of different versions of it. So the first name we had was Mayaverse, and we were like, okay. But then we realized that the industry perception of a verse is a different thing, and it's a different company. It's not a data management company. It's Web 3.0 and so on. So we improvised, we changed the names, and then the last name we had is Maya Data Privacy. We're even thinking a more appropriate name can be Maya Data AI, because we are very much centered on using the data with privacy preservation, but the purpose of is to fuel the new generation AI and and the development of technologies.
Quick about the new paradigm that you are embarking upon. There's always a concept for AI for data, and now
Yeah.
flipping it around, data for AI is something that you're looking at.
Yes.
So, I mean, can you demystify this jargon?
Yes. Yeah. So the use cases which we are doing, and that's the interesting piece actually. So AI for data and data for AI sound very synonymous, but they're so different and so powerful, each of them. So data for AI is when you help to build AI with it. So basically, it's the data for machine learning, advancing technologies, building software, and like the real world apps. So if you want to help a doctor have a second opinion based on patient's medical record, so you'll use this data for AI. On the other hand, when you want to make data available for AI, okay, so that's the AI for data, because there's so much data today, and data is lying in, say, your X-ray scans and your medical records, your bank transactions. You cannot simply use it for any purpose apart from serving the person who is involved. So how will you do this? You will transform this data, you will change this data. And to do that, currently, and this is the reality today, the organizations have huge teams. Okay, so there are huge setup for analytics. There are huge teams for partnerships, like making data ready to send to a vendor. There are huge teams set up to do a proof of concept, or just to do a demo. You have a team which sits and says, okay, this is production data. We can't give it for a demo. So they will work for 3 weeks and then make it ready. This whole process, which is currently more manual, it has a lot of tools, but still it's manual. So we are using AI in this space. So we are using AI for data. And this is the second piece, and that's the interesting piece where we make a big difference, that you can simplify this whole process on transformation of data, making it ready for different use cases, not only for AI, but for any use case. You can do it in a much secure way. You're outsourcing your training systems, your testing environments, and this is all simplified because we use AI for data. So these are the two different things. And data for AI is what fuels AI, and AI for data is what makes the data consumption secure.
Wonderful. I think what you're trying to say is about leveraging, which is a conventional way of AI being applied to create interpretations, build intelligence, and understand the pattern, and eventually be able to do the forecasting part, prediction part based on the data. But now data in itself might not be ready for the kind of transformation that you're doing. So making even the data ready for the transformation that you're looking at is what is the next step that you're doing, right?
Exactly. And you have very less solutions in this space. This is where I felt the problem. And then like, okay, let's do this. And yeah,
So it's almost like, if we talk about the data in an enterprise, you would have transactions, business transactions going across, and you will create a replica of that data set, running it parallelly to kind of process it to make it more enabled to the AI, ML, deep learning. And then that becomes kind of an augmented data that you would keep on learning and then feeding back some kind of intelligence ahead of where the data gets generated. Is that something as a simple understanding?
Exactly, yeah. So we pitched this also as a project to the European Union, and we are still in discussion. We passed the first few stages, and that is about the variants of data. So when you're talking directly to your customer, okay, you need their details, but anything apart from directly engaging with customer, you don't need their details. So you create a variant of data, and this is what where we use AI for data. So we use AI to create these variants, and then these variants are something which you'll use for everything: your analytics, testing, AI, anything, any other use case. So this helps to isolate the customer, to isolate the environment which can be misused. And this saves all the hacking attempts and so on. I mean, if a hacker gets in, he'll get access to one record or maybe 10 records or something. So this is a huge protection. So it's a new way of doing things, of course. So not many companies have adopted this, but yeah, this is the way of doing things in future, and many companies are looking in this direction.
So, this is more about whenever you are into a technology space where it's absolutely niche, right? I mean, state of the art, where the world is focusing on AI and the use cases of AI. A little bit of a scares that will, scare about the use cases of AI kind of overpowering human being or a brain. We'll talk
Yes.
about it. But do you find whenever you are on this edge, on the kind of wave which is going up, do you find a little bit sense of uncomfort where the whole world does not know about it? I mean, you have to educate, make aware, and then get into that business portion where you want to earn money also.
Yeah. So I wouldn't go to the root cause of this, but the root cause is basically capitalism. Every business is run for profits and everything else comes secondary, which is basically the cause of this problem. And this is the cause of scare. So you go today and say a guy who is buying say a mobile phone, I use this example, I have put it in my research as well. He has to check boxes to say he understands how this phone is handling their data. And this guy doesn't know even English. And who cares for him? No one. And that's the whole mechanism how it's built. It's really scary. The people who were treated at AIMS in Delhi is one of the best hospital in India. The data was lost in a hack, right? When did they sign up for this? It is really, really a scary situation. If you see banks' data has been hacked, most of the cloud providers today has one or two incidents already in place. You take Azure or any platform, there has been incidents on them. Biggest one, Uber. Everybody is using Uber very conveniently. They were hacked. 70 million data records were breached. Where are those data records? It's really a grim situation on how the world is operating in this space. And we understand, we don't blame anybody because there were not many technologies. If a medium-sized company wants to use this privacy enhancing technology, it will take a huge investment. They wouldn't have these might to do this. But with our technology, we're trying to simplify this big gap. So today, Google's and Facebook's and all are able to use such technologies, but not others. So yeah, this is a very grim situation today, I would say, and we are seeing the impact. Earlier, the data was very confined. Now it's used. Everyone is using. So until you use privacy enhancing technologies, you are putting your customer at risk. So it's very bad situation, I would say. But yeah, there's hope. So things will get better.
Right. And looking at the outcome of the way that you transform data, looks like there are success stories where there was a reduction of 40% of some transactions volume and decision making being faster. So you want to highlight some kind of success eventually impacting businesses that it has generated through Maya transformation framework that you have?
Yeah, several stories. I can talk for hours on this. We have very good success stories by now. We have hospitals and in Norway and in Europe in general. And like they were doing a digital transformation. So during digital transformation, it's a very major part on how will you educate or train your staff. And this was a big challenge. So using our technology, they have reduced the training time for staff by more than 20%. This alone saved them more than €1 million. Because digital transformation is a major task. The other major task is testing environments. So you have to very rigorously test things because even a single bug going into your production environment leads to not loss of money. That's secondary. It affects the operations of the hospital. And that's the big problem. So they very significantly reduce the time needed. And this is where we put these numbers of 40%, 6% reduction. So they reduce the time from like 6 weeks to 2 weeks in getting things ready for a live integrated testing environments. The cost was also very significantly reduced because of the usage of AI and the algorithms we have. It simplifies the whole process, which had a lot of manual steps earlier. Now they're all AI-driven, automated, simplified steps. So it helped this hospital. Another very good example, again, in the health space or the financial services space. We have so many examples today. What's the crux of it? Yeah, we have a lot of data in the apps entered by, say, the patients who are using this for their medicine management, the symptoms management, and so on. How will you use it? And that's where our technology simplified their whole journey of making it available for research. So it's a very novel cause, and it was very helpful for us. We even worked with them in the start without any say money, because it was a smaller company. Now it's a big one. The financial services firm, which is outsourcing essentially, and then this outsourcing is a huge risk for every company, and it's covered by contract. So if there's a breach of data at a vendor, then you're covered by contract. At the end, your data is lost. So the biggest loss is reputation. So what we saved this client, they had a very, very good way to outsource once they have used this privacy enhancing technologies, and their clients were happy. This was the most important part. For AI usage, like the usage of ChatGPT, just simple as that. If you use ChatGPT, you type a prompt, put any name. By mistake, you put your email of your client. It all goes to GPT. So it's a loss from your organization forever. Our solutions help the clients remove these all sensitive and personal information before the prompt goes to GPT. So it's a very good use case, and we are seeing very good traction. People are adopting to use GPT via our solution. So this gives them very much freedom to use AI and not lose any personal or sensitive information to AI. So, and this is actually 90% plus productivity increase, and the cost of using AI is also reduced. This is the good part with our solutions, that they also simplify the whole journey of you using an AI. So their cost to use GPT is reduced by 50% if they come through us. So it's a lot of savings we have made for the clients, and that's always a win-win. That's how we work.
I heard you talking about around 60% reduction in the accounting data processing cost.
Yes.
There were some cases where there was 20% reduction in training time, 2000
Yes.
plus days of shift time reduction. So, it's awesome way that the data could be leveraged for ease of operations, streamlining of business processes, getting data on the fingertips faster, so access to data being faster, making fact-based decision making, right? So those would be the potential areas in which this helps a lot. Now, talking about data, data had been there, is there around 10 years back. It was started being called as big data by giants like SAP and Oracle's, who invented kind of rebranded in-memory computing in the form of HANA, and some degree of computes and decision making started happening in the memory. Now again, that trend is back, where you find AI dominating, where large language models are around, and so do you find AI as something that kind of always overlays?
I think it's a good analogies you brought in with the in-memory computing. And even you go back 10 years, cloud computing. And it started long, long back. And today, if you say cloud computing, it's like embedded. So everything you see today is, like a lot of it is in cloud. And nobody says that our software is on cloud. Like, okay, by default, it's on cloud, right? So a lot of things get embedded in our lives, and just to make it more easy to understand is nanotechnology. Do we know? Are we using nanotechnology? Everything today, right? Any phone is like the most modern example, but there's so many things: your washing machine, your trash, wherever you are using complex electronic devices, nanotechnology is built in. So similar transformation happened for cloud in the last 10 years, where only Amazon was using cloud in the 2000 age. 2010 onwards, many companies started using, and today every company is using in some way or form. So AI is definitely a transformational topic in the same way. And you will, before you would know that, okay, is something using AI, which I'm using today, it will be embedded. Every app where this can be embedded would be embedded, because there's no other way. You cannot compete in today's world by sitting aside until you are probably going to fishing and things, because that's a different game altogether. But if you are having a presence in digital world, you cannot skip this. So it is definitely transformational. It's going to be embedded into everything. Probably people will start talking about AI in the next 5 to 10. Nobody will talk about it because it'll be embedded everywhere. So,
Right.
yeah.
And I think the advent of quantum computing, which actually is a next gen, and also you will find a reality check where recently there is a big outage due to Microsoft, and that mainly due to this CrowdStrike
Just like
security
last week.
software, right? I mean, it's kind of a giving reality check for
Sure.
us to be careful of creating plan B, plan C, or not to put all the
Very
eggs
true.
into the same
I think
basket.
it's a wake-up call for everyone in the digital world to not simply check boxes. Like, you have to make sure what you're signing up for, and you have to understand before doing anything.
Right.
So, yeah.
So now a little bit of a query about being, talking about these use cases where you find, if we look at movies, which are sci-fi movies, where,
Mhm.
and you take a movie like Wall-E, where that small,
Yeah.
you know,
I love Wally. Yeah.
yeah, and that use case where, finally you will find the computer or the artificial intelligence or the manager there starts a kind of overruling or overpowering. So do you think that
Sure.
anybody and everybody should be kind of be careful about how AI use cases are being laid down as a next generation that we're looking at, where it starts being like a human, right? I mean, there are movies where you will find that robot might attack, uh, maybe in the thought state. Do you find those kind of things
No,
realistic?
it's not even far. It's already there. You ask ChatGPT questions, and it would try to dictate. And I'm talking ChatGPT again and again, but you can use anyone, Perplexity or any other. The AI models are built with data we have today. So yeah, this is happening. And not only this, there's a big topic around bias in AI. So like as humans, we have a school. We all go to schools. Like at least in my generation, we didn't learn all online, and we are taught. So in the school, there are lessons on moral classes, and there's a academic, there's schedule and things. But when AI is taught, it's not taught that way. It's taught for a purpose. So as we have evolved, we have learned all the subjects. We like it or not, like many people don't like studying different subjects, history and geography, and we learn from them. Like if a human being, like these atom bomb drops were three, but they dropped only two, they themselves are like, no, we can't do this. AI will never think that way, probably, because it has never been taught in a very structured way as we are taught. So this is a foreseen problem, and this is where there's a big topic of AI reliability, and the say the side effects, the biases in AI, and this is a huge topic. So yeah, we see that our software in some sense helps to eliminate those. We have options to remove the say outliers, and so this is a part of data cleansing which we do using AI again when we are working with data. But this is definitely something which is a major alert, and people should be taking conscious of this rather than just, and this is where the whole discussion comes back to this capitalistic behavior. And it's not that capitalism is bad, it promotes innovation, it's a very good thing. But at the same time, just running behind, okay, how can I save money, how can I use it? No, you have to think about the reliability of AI, the effectiveness of AI, at the same time the biases which are getting in. So yeah, definitely we have to be careful.
Absolutely. I believe there's a huge amount of forum and research happening for protecting all those use cases before AI gets to the next level. Use cases which might create risk, the biases that it will generate for guiding us also to certain decisions that we might not be actually should not be taking. I believe that is a focus area in which even Maya would have a contribution in the form of security, protecting those use cases moving forward. I always use this example whenever there was an advent of computers and software. You also had viruses coming, right, which is a human-created malicious software.
True.
Likewise, unless you tweak AI to your own benefit as a human being, it's something that is created by human being for human being. I believe that would be a constructive way of leveraging AI for future.
That's very true. We have to adopt these as default. So like software engineering has certain defaults and like it has set as industry standards. Yesterday only I was hearing the speech from Mr. Zuckerberg on the release of their new Llama, and he was talking about AI standards framework and more making the open source frameworks for AI. He was talking more about Llama, but then the point which emerges is that the industry has to build these new standards where these things are not just checkboxes and checklists, but these things are something which are inbuilt in how you design the AI and how you design the productization of AI. So like everybody is experimenting, all good, yeah, some pilot clients. Okay, but when you want to say, okay, now I want to roll this out for, say, patient treatments and every doctor can take a second opinion, that's risky. It can be really dangerous. And say if there is no data in your data set for training for, say, a tribal group, and the tribal group is a very small section and don't have much precedent, much data, what they are going to suggest? They would not know what these guys are, and this will be disaster. So I think there has to be these checks and balances built in whenever we are productizing AI such.
Awesome. Getting to the last leg, certain things about you and your inspiration. Do you have, whenever you think about yourself, putting yourself through all this, you know, being owner of a startup, having gone through all these challenges, do you find somebody to look up to as a role model?
So in my personal life, it's been my father. He's no more with us. He left when I was in the first year of engineering, so very early. But he, in his 30s, did start a company in Bihar, which is one of the most like I wouldn't make any judgments on Bihar, but in general, it's industry very much perished in the 80s and 90s. And that's when my father also couldn't survive the industrial changes happening. But yeah, he has been an inspiration. And the main point I learned is valuing people. So in his business, I know people who joined him like on the first day of his business and stayed with him till even when it was going negative losses and stuff, but people stayed with him. That was the best part of my inspirations, right? Whenever you build a company, the team is the most important part in your journey, because startup is not just, okay, so today we raised money and then we got 1 million in revenues and then this is, no, these are not the main milestones. The milestones are, okay, this is my second person joining the management team, this is my third guy who is leaving his high paying salaries and joining us for the mission of and the cause. And I think these are the main successes. So as a role model, I still see as a personal, because I've known, of course, you'll know your father much more than anybody else. But in industry, I've seen stalwarts like Mr. Ambani, who built a business from nothing, and that's he has to face many challenges, many biases by the governments, and so on. And this is true today. Like it's not, no place is rosy and nowhere is like all the stones are turned. You always face biases and stuff in the journey. So I really appreciate his endeavor to make a standing and growing business, because at the end he cared about making his smallest shareholder happy. So these are some of the really good role models. And the founders of FlexCube are another one, because they did something in Europe, and it's a good thing to learn. I always whenever I get down or when I feel like, oh, what I'm doing, then I go back to these stories, and there are so many inspiring stories for all of us, be it from America, be it from Europe, be it from India. And I always love going to those stories. And even those who are not very much a fan of reading books, at least you can read biographies, you can even read a wiki page. So it always gives you that boost, that needed energy to get back on track and proceed and do good things.
Superb way to cope up with sets of challenges, eventually opportunities, and the way that
True.
everybody and you saw your father going through all those very closely, might have watched his journey, and definitely inspiring for us. Uh, Now, talking about Maya, what are the 2 to 3 things that you think should happen to Maya in the so that it makes its dent a huge impact onto the world? Do you have some kind of dreams?
Yes, yeah. So what we see for Maya in the coming days is to make its niche and be recognized as a leader in this space of data for AI. This is the first thing we wish to have. The second most important thing is to expand our current presence in terms of our client base, in terms of the audiences which we serve today. And the third most important thing is to build a very strong team. So of course, none of them are first, second, third or so, but yeah, these are the 3 main things which we are currently working for. So it's like you can't just simply wish, you have to work. And every day, even in my regular days, I always say, okay, what I have done for point 1, point 2, and point 3. And this is how every day is. But yeah, this is how you build also for future. And you must have clarity on what we're going to achieve. So we are very clear that we are going to stay in this space, build a niche, serve more and more people, serve more and more clients, and at the same time build a very strong and passionate team.
Wonderful. And maybe as this will be watched by a lot of startups, individuals who are aspiring. So, do you have any kind of a message for them during the hardships and during the tough times that you want them to do, not to do, some do's and don'ts?
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm still that level to inspire people, but yeah, if anybody is struggling today, I would say to focus on building a strong team. That's because that gives you resilience. Resilience is a very big thing in startup world. I've seen people who have done 2 startups, 3 startups, and maybe it's a bit easier for them. I haven't done the second startup or third startup in a successful way, so I won't talk about it. But what I've learned in my first major startup is that you need a big, not a big, but a strong and supportive team. So whenever you feel like burnout, try to see if you are working with the right people and share. So time is always a crunch. It will always be the crunch, but it's a crunch for everyone. And even working in anywhere in like a corporate job, time is always a crunch. So as a founder, you have to focus and focus on what is most important for you. Some days, maybe team is the one, because this is the one which is going to keep you alive, which is going to get you more successful. At the same time, yeah, you have to keep the resilience. You have to convert every challenge into an opportunity. If somebody says, yeah, here, this is a guy, this is a competition, these guys are doing so well, why would we buy, why would anyone buy from you? And this is common as well. But then as a founder, you have to turn this around. You have to see what's the opportunity. If somebody else is doing something in a particular way, how are you better? You have to improvise yourself. That's the piece in being
Right.
startup. You have to fail fast, you have to improvise, and yeah, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I think great message in there, having that perseverance, that kind of focus, and also keep pushing the boundaries would be the key takeaways. Aloka, wonderful. It has been a pretty insightful interaction with you. We definitely demystified some portion of how data could be more secured, how those use cases in maybe healthcare or finances, financial systems could be leveraging data for AI or AI for data, the way that Maya is envisaging to do. And we wish Maya a great success and you to really get to your dreams coming true in the time to come.
Thank you. Yeah, we will keep pushing the boundaries to make everybody's life better in the digital world, and they should be free and not be hesitating when they want to sign up to a digital website once they see, yeah, our data is handled by Maya. So that will be our ultimate aim to come on every device, on every application, and so on. So thank you for this opportunity today.
Thank you so much.
Truth Consultech, synergizing transformation.